Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you own it. So hit that sub button if you're joining us for the first time. Fat Man Zoom, what is up, my man? Oh, you motherfuckers. Not much. I got my starting five here. Sam Cisneros, mysterious gal. Kitty Plans, team coaching, and wisdom addict. But I'm feeling awfully Denzel-ish. I did a Denzel robotic. There's a robotic voice. That's my normal voice. It's my normal voice. I don't even hear anything. Test. I just heard it. Hold on. I don't know why. Everything looks fine. I can hear it. Sounds hilarious. Pause. Oh, you motherfuckers.
Test. Man. Oh, that's better. I don't know why. Roadcaster just being weird. What's up, guys? And my normal voice. I think we're good. Oh, yeah. That was weird.
Yeah. So good night. We had a good night.
Last night, yeah.
Market's not doing great today. But I don't know if that's necessarily a surprise depending on what happened yesterday.
Yeah, depending on what you were in, like, I mean, my oil plays, the reopening plays are still doing okay. Just a little bit of a pullback, nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Is your account green today or red today?
It was green today. It's red right now.
So it's green today. You're like that gambler that's like, I was up 1,000. What'd you leave with? 0?
I'm just saying it was up earlier today, and now it's not.
AMC was green at one point, but it's not anymore.
I was on my way to being 5 days in a row green, but doesn't look like that's happening.
You got 26 more minutes. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Vinay's up 4% on the day.
Hell yeah, bro.
Tracy Morgan is back. You're welcome. I did a performance last night.
Sure did at Man Meal.
Yep. I did a Denzel performed by Tracy at Man Meal. Training day. Killed it. We got a few things to talk about, but we're here for the earnings. We have some good earnings today. We got Lulu. We got Crowdstrike, right? Crowdstrike, DOCUSign,
yes.
And ChargePoint. I'm personally excited about 2 of those. 2 of them I'm in. Talk about how that's going to work out, what I'm planning on doing with it, and then we'll check out the earnings at the end. But first, there's a decent amount of news in the market today, so that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start?
We can start with the Tesla news if you want.
Yeah.
So Tesla came out with news. The stock tanked this afternoon. Came out with news basically saying that the China sales have halved. In China, the Tesla sales have halved in China, and it has not been good for Tesla because a lot of people were riding on Tesla sales in China to kind of really support that 800 to 850,000 unit sales by the end of the year, and this could be a huge deal for them, and it could prevent them from hitting that number if sales in China continue to fall.
Yeah, I mean, man, how Tesla's fallen out of favor. We talked about this at the beginning of the year where Tesla would essentially have to pitch a perfect game this year and they'd have to hit on all cylinders. And like, these are the type of things that happen. I can't say I'm worried too much about it. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how well it's held up considering. I mean, that's a big cut.
Yeah, and it's only down like 5% right now.
Yeah. So
by Tesla standards, that's okay.
Yeah, that's not bad. So I'm not too worried about that. They'll find a way to figure out. And a lot of times these are opportunities. It's just, what came to my mind when I was thinking about this was how things have fallen out of favor.
Yeah.
And nobody really talks about Tesla anymore. Not saying people aren't in it, but like Tesla was just all the talk.
Yeah, it's all anybody ever talked about, yeah.
And I was thinking about Meet Kevin channel.
Yeah.
Isn't he like majority in on Tesla?
40% of, last I heard, 40% of his account was wrapped up in Tesla, yeah.
Must be why he's only talking about housing right now. Most content
Running for governor.
Running for governor, yeah. But no, it kind of reminds me of like yesterday we saw some people like Clover did well. That's great.
Yeah.
AMC did really well for some people. And you start seeing people come out of the woodwork that have performed, like they basically put a big bet on those stocks. Listen, I'm a fan of Clover. I've got no issues with it. But like people who are like over half their account is in one stock.
Yeah.
And in no world, like, would I ever feel comfortable doing that with any stock?
Right.
It looks good sometimes, but oftentimes we're in a world of hurt. And so I think that's sort of the false confidence that people give us. It's like, I was just thinking about Meet Kevin, and I'm like, man, it was cool when Tesla was crushing it and he had 50% of his account in it, but like, we're not talking about it anymore.
Right.
Like, where are you at?
We're just going to ignore that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when it goes back up, you're going to be like, oh, I've been adding.
Yeah.
I have 60% leverage when it's up to like $800.
There was a time where he was having to pay into the call margins and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I like him. I like his setup.
Dude, the dude's a beast.
Yeah. But those are examples of like sort of facades that like I just worry about because a lot of people try to emulate that and he's not talking about it. Do you think there's a reason why he's not talking about it? Like if he was crushing it, we'd see videos left and right on it.
Yes. I did see something earlier this week that he ended up going like crazy on AMC though.
Oh,
so that might have worked out for him.
Maybe.
As long as he sold yesterday.
Yeah, as long as he sold yesterday.
Speaking of AMC, they ended up doing another offering. There's a lot of folks that were confused as to what this offering was about. I don't know if you saw on the Twitter machine, but in case you guys haven't heard, AMC did come out with an offering this morning, and I don't know if anybody should have been surprised by this. If you were, you weren't watching this channel, but they came out 11.5 million share offering, and this always cracks me up with companies. They say that they're going to, sell shares, perhaps time a little, some here and some there. That's essentially what the verbiage is. And then they just dump it all in the first 5 minutes of the open. So we saw AMC drop 45% from its pre-market highs, from around $72 all the way down to around 34, I want to say, as low as it got down, somewhere around 34. And there's a lot of people that are confused by this because they were arguing that in April they already announced that they were doing an offering. It was a separate offering for starters. Companies don't just put that out twice. So it was a separate offering from what was happening in April. So they've been diluting the stock. The company actually, the share structure, the float is 10 times bigger than it was this time last year. So over the last 12 months, they've been diluting like crazy. So this shouldn't have come as a surprise. But then the company comes out and says, hey, all of the shares were dumped. No more shares to dump. So then it starts getting bought back up. Actually went green on the day, but now is sitting at down 10% as we speak. So pretty wild ride for anybody who is in AMC. If you bought it before yesterday, you're still all right, I guess. But yeah, this was pretty wild. I have to backtrack here a little bit. It actually went down as low as 37.66, but still nearly a 50% drop from its pre-market high.
Yeah, 50% retracement.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
After hours will be interesting on AMC. I mean, for the foreseeable future, it'll be interesting for the AMC and for AMC in general. That's where the attention lies. And to me, that's kind of been the theme for the day is like, where does the attention lie?
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this offline, where nobody's talking about crypto.
Right.
What's up, guys?
Yeah. Everybody forgot about Doge. Everybody forgot about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
And like further back when we were talking about Tesla, right?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't miss on tech, and tech was on fire and all the other stuff. And it just kind of like one of the things we talked about was where do you focus your attention? How do you focus your attention? And like distractions versus like real opportunities. So I was curious to get your thoughts on that. And like, obviously there's opportunities that maybe, crypto is one like you've been thinking about, you've been leaning into.
Yeah.
Even going further back, you were big into pennies and you made a shift into the big board. How do you look at that, and how do you decide when you're going to shift and what you're going to pay attention to? And is it hard for you not to get caught up in getting distracted and getting away from
It's super hard to not get distracted by this stuff. We have this problem when we're just talking about what we want our content to be like, every day. So I think, when I made the shift, 'cause I used to make a living off of penny stocks until I shifted into this stuff. And the reason that I made the shift, one of the big reasons was that I couldn't handle the crazy volatility. So this stuff with AMC, it just drives me nuts, I guess, because I used to live in that world and now I don't anymore. And that's exactly what it reminds me of. But when I'm looking at things that go crazy like this, when I was trading penny stocks and all the attention was focused on one big move or two big moves, that was the time where I started to look at stuff that people weren't looking at anymore. Yeah. And so it's almost kind of like that reverse psychology of, okay, well, if the cloud of money is over here, then I need to be looking over there. And it doesn't work every single time, but most times it does.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was thinking about today is like, as far as crypto is concerned, looking pretty good today. Ethereum, which is my guy, looking good. Coming up on $3,000. Seems like Bitcoin's coming up on $40,000. Kind of just chilling, but I wonder if it's worth thinking about this now and like where you think it's going to go, because I would argue this might be a good opportunity to start dollar cost averaging in, start scaling in a little bit and building it, because what I worry is that when attention gets back, the next attention that gets to Bitcoin is over 40K again and then on its way to 50K.
Yeah.
Why wait until the excitement? Like if it's me, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to wait until that happens while all you guys are looking at these other things and you're chasing the squirrel. Like, I think our attention's going to go back to crypto. So I want to add to it.
Yeah.
What do you think about crypto, and do you think the attention is going to go back to crypto?
I think the attention is for sure going to go back. It was pretty wild to me. There were some folks on CNBC talking yesterday about a crypto winter, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Crypto winter. I actually think I was looking at the daily charts, and it looks to me that if we can get this back up over 40, and this is where the 200-day moving average comes into play here. So I actually like Bitcoin if it can pop back up over this 200-day moving average. It's been struggling to do that over the last couple of days. But if we can get that back up over that, I think that we made a bold prediction on Bitcoin to make a move by the end of the year. So in 2019, at December 2019, we said that Bitcoin was going to hit 50K. Yeah. That was our bold prediction, and it blew right past that. I think we're going to have to come up with a new list for the second half of the year, but I think that Bitcoin could at least hit 75 if we can get this up over that 40K mark.
Yeah, and that was 2020.
Yeah,
for 2021.
Yeah, in 2020, sorry. In 2020 for 2021,
Yeah, I can't say 100K is realistic because I know a lot of people will just throw out the round number. Is certainly possible. You're just essentially saying it's going to double from highs. But yeah, we need to think about that. And we're going to work on bold predictions for the second half of the year. What about Ethereum, because that's all I really care about.
I think Ethereum has been interesting. You know, we talk about how Ethereum has had, has outperformed Bitcoin this year, but it's also been a lot more volatile. Bitcoin, while it's dropped considerably, it hasn't dropped nearly as much as Ethereum did when it had these crazy times of volatility. I mean, it went all the way from almost $4,400 a share down to $1,704.
Yeah.
And so it's been pretty wild, but I will say, as far as the 200-day moving average is concerned, it's never fallen below that.
Yeah.
So I still remain bullish on that too. And the interest isn't going away. Has the volume died off a little bit? Sure. But it's died off in the entire market.
Yeah.
You know, we can be talking about the AMCs and the meme stocks all we want, and that's kind of where volume has been focused. But you look at the market overall, the overall stock market, the overall crypto market, volume and interest in general has just slowed, but it doesn't change how I feel about the market or even crypto at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan Lee, so are you yet? You still aren't in crypto, right?
Not yet. I'm making my way there. Actually, we have a guest potentially next week that we want to talk to, and that's probably when I'll start making some moves on crypto.
Okay. Going back to Tesla, Ryan Lee asks, are you guys still adding to your Tesla positions? Now, didn't you sell out of Tesla?
I'm completely out of Tesla. I sold it at 700.
Okay. I am in Tesla. I sold for some profits, but I stayed in. I trimmed. I added back at 600. And I'm not sure about the next thing, but I'm thinking about adding back at 550. What do you think?
At 550?
If it goes down to 550.
I mean, there was times where I thought about adding to it recently. So I think that if I was looking at it at 550, I definitely would be seriously considering it. After these sales numbers, though, it does have me nervous. I would be lying if I said that, Tesla's a buy right now after their sales numbers.
Yeah.
For them to be cut by 50%, that's a big deal. Now, can they make that up elsewhere? Sure, but the EV market in China is arguably the largest EV market in the world at this point. And if you're not doing well there, I don't know how you do well earnings wise and all that stuff. So I got to say that I'm a little bit nervous going into the next earnings this quarter. And maybe I'm being an idiot for doubting Elon and Tesla, but this quarter I think could be very challenging for them if those China sales don't go up. So I would venture to say that if we're looking at the chart, the more realistic number is probably around 540. If it drops down there, then that's probably an area that I would look, which is close enough to your 550. But yeah, I think if we look at that and if it holds that 540 area, I think that's probably a spot that I could potentially watch for a bounce.
Yep.
But right now, it's below the 200-day moving average. It's well below the 50-day. When it gets to 540, perhaps we could start to see this oversold territory on the RSI. So that to me could potentially be a really solid buy for Tesla if things continue to go south for them.
Yeah, I mean, these are the opportunities that I'm personally looking for, because does a month make a trend? And we look for those. Now, if they have a couple months they string together, Tesla knows they have to turn up the numbers, right? Like this stuff happens to companies where they get hits here and there. And so I'm not saying it can't go below 550. I'm trying to figure out where that would be. And I certainly want to see confirmation, because this could be the beginning of a downward trend. But the reality is that there's times when things happen with companies where they just have you're talking about a bad month. You're not talking about a bad quarter. You're not talking about a bad year. You're talking about one bad month.
Yeah.
It's not saying you shouldn't care about it.
Yeah.
It's worth just keeping an eye on it and understanding, okay, what sort of were the reasonings behind it? And if you can figure out the reasons behind it and figure out, okay, is this material or not material? Because there's so many factors to why there would be such a drastic cut. See what happens.
It's not just a bad month, though. I mean, you have China that probably wants to force their own companies like a NIO and XPeng and some of those other ones. But what I would also say is that Ford and GM are gunning for them. And we've looked at Ford lately, and Ford has really gone crazy. GM all-time highs for them too. So it's not just the Chinese side of things, it's also the American side of things. And I'm not saying that I've lost faith in Tesla or their ability to be able to be the front runner in this market. It's just that, nothing goes in a straight line, and this is definitely a challenge and a couple of hurdles that they seem to be getting all at once that could be creating a lot of this volatility.
Yeah, the problem is when you really look at the numbers, those guys aren't even close.
No, they're not.
Like Ford and GM are not going to compete this year or next year. And that's the thing where it's like, and the China, look at NIO and them, like, it's based on hope that you can be like that. And so now you're saying NIO, XPeng, GM, Ford have to pitch perfect as well.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to fuck up than Tesla is to fuck up.
Yes. I will also say, though, so do you think that Ford isn't going to be able to compete with Tesla as far as the Lightning is concerned?
I don't think that's competition. I think you're talking about two different, like, if you're implying that the Cybertruck and the Lightning are competing against each other, we talked about this before.
We did, yeah.
I think those are two different demographics. I think they can live in the same space, but I think that you got to go back. And one of the things we talk about to make sure the narrative stays the same is this an automotive company or not?
Yeah.
Right? So if you believe that, then I'm not saying this doesn't matter, but why are we comparing Ford?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, cars are a huge piece of that. EVs are a huge piece of that, don't get me wrong. But if you believe that it's a bunch of tech companies, then
Tesla being a bunch of tech.
Yeah, then is Ford their competition? Like, is Ford truly their competition? But the Lightning's not gonna. I think it's gonna do fine, and I think it's gonna carve a nice little niche. But when this story is written, I can't see Ford being the one that really is like even a number 2 in the space.
Yeah,
but it's a guess. Like I don't. I'm speculating.
Right.
I think GM probably has a higher likelihood, but what I would say is more likely is somebody else.
Yeah.
And probably not in the U.S.
Yeah. I would. It would be interesting to see. I wish, obviously, everybody wishes they could see into the future, but if I had to guess who was going to be second place to Tesla in the EV market, I would probably go with GM. Mm-hmm. Only because they have so many platforms that they're already ready to just jump on the EV bandwagon. They've already announced that the Corvette's going to go full EV at some point before 2030. And so that's going to compete with the Roadster. They just have so many use cases for all of their vehicles, trucks included. So I think if there's going to be a second fiddle to the EV market, it probably could be GM. I think if I had to put my money on somebody. Yeah.
And I think the challenge becomes not only do they have to fulfill capacity and you have to have demand there.
Yep.
You have to fulfill capacity. And then the other thing is their profitability isn't even close to Tesla.
Their margins are very small. Yeah.
So that's the other huge challenge they have. So a company that's abroad probably has a better shot because there's not as much scrutiny as would a U.S. company be. And so a company that maybe is a shittier product could perform better because they can build in margins better.
Like NIO?
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right? They can get labor cheaper. They can get their product doesn't have to be as good. It's just fulfilling a need. If somebody's I want EVs, you can make it cheaper in the margins. That's always going to be the problem of GM and Ford and why it's going to hamper them because their costs are going to increase as they move to EVs, not decrease. And they can't even do it not with EVs, right?
Yeah, right.
It's not profitable, is razor type margins without EVs. Now you're going to add a new technology.
Yeah.
It seems challenging. My point is that to me, this is just a minor setback for Tesla, not a huge deal. But I'm not saying you don't worry about it. Just keep it in the back of your mind. And I'm going to make sure I just see how I feel about it. But they're ramping up capacity and they have huge opportunities. Is this something that is material, or is this a short blip on the radar that actually is a good buying opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, you got to consider the tech as well. Just full self-driving, all that stuff is years ahead of the competition. Not to say that the competition can't catch up, but it's going to take a while.
So for me right now, Tesla's still a buy. I'm going to be a little bit more careful about my entry, though.
Yeah.
Rip off Rita style.
Yep. So looking again, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm seeing and what Fat Man Zoom also may be seeing, is that 540, if it does come down to those levels, that seems to be a reasonable area to add. As now my Weeble is lagging here. There we go. So this 540 area could be a reasonable spot to maybe keep your eye on. Not saying that you have to buy it there or anything like that, but I think it just makes sense to see if it bounces from that level. You can see back here at 539 where it bounced all the way back in March, and then had another nice little bounce here at the end of May, and now is rolling over yet again. So that's probably the next area that I would consider Tesla to potentially be a buy.
One more quick question regarding Tesla. If they announce their semis, would you be interested in getting back, or would that be something that you would then consider getting back in?
Yes.
Okay.
No, there isn't any other semis out there that are really competing.
Okay. So, because I know, essentially the question is, when would you consider getting back into Tesla? Because it sounds like you will eventually get back in. Is it just the next big catalyst?
Yeah, I mean, right now they have nothing coming out that I would really be excited about in the immediate future. And with this news, I'm now nervous about future earnings for this quarter. So yeah, I think it's just watching and waiting to see how some things play out. The semis certainly would be a big deal for me.
Yeah. So let's talk about earnings, other companies' earnings. So the big four we're watching: CrowdStrike, DocuSign, ChargePoint, and Lululemon, right?
Yes.
So I have ChargePoint and Lululemon. I'm in both of them, about half position size. Which one do you want to start with?
Let's go with CrowdStrike. I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Actually,
so neither of them.
No, you go ahead and check, because I'm gonna try to reset Weeble here.
Okay. So I will start with Lululemon because that's at the top of my list.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Lululemon did not have a great earnings last time, and I'm about even on this. I got in just as an earnings play. Wasn't really a run up, but their estimates per share are 91 cents a share, which is actually I want to say that's kind of high. I think they come in at $1.12 per share. I'm really excited because a couple things I'm looking at, guys, that I think that for me I'm keeping an eye on. I want to know about mirror sales. I want to see about traffic to brick and mortar. I anticipate them telling us that they're seeing robust traffic to brick and mortar. E-commerce is still staying high levels, and on top of that, mirror sales are hopefully are doing well.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know about. And obviously guidance. And here's the thing about guidance that I want people to keep an eye on moving forward. I think there's going to be a continued trend in raising guidance. So if you guys remember last year, Q2, Q3, it was this common trend that every earnings, the companies would withdraw guidance.
Yeah.
I think the new trend now is that you're going to see companies raising guidance, which is arguably the most important factor to how a stock will react. So Lululemon beats, which they typically beat. Checkbox 1. New revenue, brick and mortar, all that's increasing. Checkbox 2. Checkbox 3, they raise guidance. I think this moves after hours, and because of that, I'm holding on to it. They have to perform a solid quarter, and if not, I will double down on this. As long as there's nothing crazy that comes in the earnings, I have some cash to add to it in dollar cost average.
I think that's a solid plan. I mean, I think looking at Lulu, what was their expected earnings per share?
91 cents.
91 cents. So if they come in and beat that and raise guidance, I think it'll be good. I'm curious to see how Peloton reacts to that as well. And then, so CrowdStrike, this was our top stock for June, and it's been doing pretty well. Right now it's down 2% as the market is currently closed. Their estimated earnings per share are at
6 cents.
6 cents. I think that's kind of a silly. I would be surprised if they don't beat that. Very surprised. We'll see. But I love CrowdStrike. I think this is a really good long-term hold. And so this is definitely one that I'll keep my eye on here in after hours trading as well. I do not own this, so I'm looking for opportunities. If by some chance the market doesn't cooperate or react very well to whatever news it may be, I think that could be an opportunity for me to potentially look at this. But because I'm looking at areas of opportunity to kind of hop back into tech a little bit.
Yeah.
So I like CrowdStrike a lot here.
I love CrowdStrike. I've loved it for a while. And really my case on that is I don't care about reopening.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is going to continue to be a narrative. And as more things move digitally, we have obviously blockchain, we have remote companies, we have digital tech companies doing fintech, all those things. They need, security is going to become more and more of a priority, and it already is. So with that being said, I love CrowdStrike, and I think I always want to have room for a cybersecurity company.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with all the news we're hearing about cyber attacks and stuff like that. It's crazy. ChargePoint right now after hours is the only one that's green so far. Everything else is pretty non-reactionary, but it looks like it's on extremely low volume. It's up 2.5%. Doesn't look like we have any earnings out for them just yet.
Yeah, I'm in that. We actually had that on Stockwatch Sunday, and they're predicting a loss of 11 cents a share. I have them beating slightly, a loss of 8 cents. I am in it also, similar to play to Lululemon. I am a little bit nervous. I'm going to be honest with this one.
Yeah.
However, I think the infrastructure bill is going to support companies like ChargePoint, Blink. They're the market leader. I think we're going to hear more about them increasing exposure into Europe. I think internationally there's huge opportunities for ChargePoint.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit nervous about this, but I am in it, and we'll see what happens.
Looking at the charts right now, it looks like DocuSign, ChargePoint, Lululemon, and CrowdStrike have yet to have reported just yet. No real responses out of any of them. And real quick, I just wanted to we didn't show this, but real quick, I wanted to cover a couple of things. If you guys are curious about other short interest stocks or other stocks with short interest on them, shout out to Rudy Brown who shared this in our Discord group. Sorry, there's no audio. I forgot to put the audio on that slide. That's my bad. I just talked a whole lot about those shorts. But anyways, the ones that have high short interest are going to be Workhorse, which popped off today.
Yeah.
Clover, which popped off and couldn't quite hold $10, but we still like that one a lot. The other one that I thought was really interesting was Blink.
Yeah.
So if you guys saw that graphic, Blink has, I think, 30-some% short interest. So I think that's one in the same vein as ChargePoint that has a lot of short interest, but could really pop off. I think it's just one that you just want to be in if you're looking to play a short squeeze potentially.
Yeah, pick one. ChargePoint or Blink.
I like both of those.
And Blink is one we've actually talked about more that we like.
Yeah.
ChargePoint, more of an earnings play for me, but the focus is going to, ChargePoint is going to benefit. There was this analogy, I forget where I heard it from, but it was when there was a gold rush, when we had the gold rush, everybody was moving out west, and so many people leveraged their savings and lost their ass. And the people who saw the most success were the ones that sold shovels. And there was more millionaires made off of shovel selling than there was off of gold. And that's kind of like the EV versus
the
charging stations. Yeah. You don't have to pick the right EV.
Right.
Pick a charging station. So charging stations are the shovel in this analogy.
Looks like we got earnings out for Lulu as it is reacting after hours. It is up. It's spiked up 4% right now. It's sitting up at 324.98 after closing at 317. This does not come as a surprise to me, Fat Man Zoom. I mean, we talked about this for a minute now about how retail has been just flying off the handle. So let's see where this lands. But so far Lululemon's got some good numbers here.
I'm more nervous about ChargePoint. Give me good news about ChargePoint.
ChargePoint's up 2% here, but it still looks like it's on low volume, so I don't think we have earnings out just yet on them. But we'll continue to watch them there. DocuSign's up about 0.5%. Again, low volume, nothing going on there. Crowdstrike is down around 1.8%. But Lululemon so far seems to be the one that has been popping off here.
All right, their numbers. Oh, go ahead.
Arfin shared the Lulu numbers. Adjusted earnings per share, $1.16, beats the 91-cent estimate. Sales are at $1.2 billion and beat the $1.13 billion estimate.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Close. I said 112.
Yeah, you're real close.
Any news on guidance, Arfin? Let me know. That's usually like what we see. Like we'll see a beat. Stock might go up, and then they talk a little bit more.
They digest a little bit.
We'll see what happens with guidance.
DocuSign's also popping off here. It's up almost 3% after hours, went all the way up to 202. We've said that we've liked this one too. Was this a June one, or was this a Stockwatch Sunday? I don't know. I remember us talking about DocuSign at some point, either last week or Stockwatch Sunday, and
we got CrowdStrike.
We think this is going to be really good too. CrowdStrike's earnings, what we got?
So they beat. They came in at 10 cents a share. Estimates were 6 cents. They beat on revenue. Estimates were 291 million. They came in at 302 million, which is nice.
That's a real good beat. Yeah,
which is nice. Should bode well for the stock.
Yeah. Right now, CrowdStrike is up around 1.5%. Lululemon still going strong here, up around 3%. It spiked all the way up to 332.
I got DocuSigns.
What you got for Docu?
DocuSign estimates was 28 cents. They beat 44 cents. I do not have revenue yet, but they beat pretty handily.
DocuSign, is up right now 2.7%. Rocking and rolling here. Lululemon is now up 3%, still going up here in after
revenue.
Man, all four of these that we're watching today.
Revenue estimate was 473, came in at 479. That's also DocuSign.
DocuSign, yeah.
Sorry, 469 versus 433. So they beat on revenue, beat on earnings per share. That's good as well.
I wonder if
I feel like last earning was really good too.
Yeah.
The last earnings.
Yesterday or the day before?
I think it was. Oh no,
Zoom.
it was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday, like everyone we looked at was green.
Yeah, went nuts. And Zoom too. I mean,
can we keep this streak going?
Tuesday's earnings were pretty good too. Thanks, Arfin, for the DocuSign numbers. So right now they're all doing really, really well. Lululemon's up around 3%. DocuSign's up over 3%. ChargePoint is now up 1.5%. Do we have the ChargePoint numbers? Did we go over those?
I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, it looks like it's still pretty low volume there so far on ChargePoint. So right now, that's the only one I think that we're missing. CrowdStrike is doing really well here after hours, going up 2.5%, almost 3%, sitting at with highs of 223 after hours. Closed the day at 216. So all of these are doing extremely well here. This is really encouraging to see. Fat Man Zoom. DocuSign's still rolling. Now it's up 4.25.
Damn. A couple of highlights from Lululemon.
Yeah.
We kind of mentioned a little bit. Looks really good. Net revenue increased 88%. Awesome. Direct-to-consumer revenue, which we talked about, up 55%.
Wow.
Again, so we're seeing still great growth, and gross profit up 109%. Income, I mean, really, all these numbers are really good for Lululemon.
Which is interesting, right? Because, I mean, the narrative that's been spun this whole entire time with companies like Lulu, Peloton, the other ones, were that, they were going to go by the wayside because of the reopening. And it looks as if demand is still remaining strong. Growth is still there. They're still beating numbers. So this is all still good stuff, guys. And we kind of said that this kind of stuff wasn't going away. So it's good to see that the growth is still there. DocuSign's still rolling, man.
ChargePoint does. I think I just got the numbers, and they don't look too good.
Uh-oh.
It looks like their earnings per share were, so a loss of 10 cents or 11 cents is what we said. It looks like he came in at a loss of 84 cents, which they had a horrible miss last quarter as well. And it looks like revenue was at 45 million. It looks like they beat on revenue. I'm waiting to confirm that.
Right now it's up 2% after hours, but it's extremely low volume here, much lower than some of the other ones. Looking at DocuSign, still rolling here after hours. That is up over 4%. Crowdstrike still doing really well too, as well as Lululemon. If you guys are just joining us, first of all, welcome. Welcome to Own the Chaos. Stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you own it. If you guys have not subscribed to us, maybe consider doing that. We go live from Sunday through Thursday. We'll take the day off tomorrow and Saturday. We'll be back for Stock Watch Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All throughout the week, we're live just before the close at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want access to our daily watch lists, which we had some really good ones today as well that popped off, even in a red market. If you guys want our daily watch list, as well as access to my portfolio, trade alerts, the Discord group, all that good stuff, for $4.99 a month, you can't beat it. Hit the join button next to subscribe. Just help support the studio behind us, as well as the channel. We certainly would appreciate it. So just to keep you guys up to date, the recap here, DocuSign came in, crushed earnings, did really well. Lululemon crushed earnings as well as Crowdstrike. They all did really well. ChargePoint, if those numbers are correct, which it looks like they are, right?
Yeah.
So they came in at a pretty steep loss, but beat revenue numbers. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's why we're seeing a little bit of a mixed reaction out of ChargePoint. It's still green after hours here, but it looks like it's on super low volume. So I don't know how much I would take that to heart, but at least it hasn't tanked, I guess.
I know.
What you're in, though, right? You're in partial position of ChargePoint.
Lulu and ChargePoint, yeah. I am not feeling confident about what's about to go down with Charge.
I know. I feel like at any moment we're just going to see like this thing just
down 4%.
Somebody's going to dump a few million shares worth of ChargePoint. Yeah.
I mean, unless I haven't corroborated those numbers, unless those aren't. I feel like we'd have a few out already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still kind of going up.
Yeah, if you guys are liking the stream so far, make sure you hit that thumbs up. We certainly would appreciate that. Thanks for the shout-outs, Savvy Money Show. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's still going up here after hours. ChargePoint is. They must have liked the revenue numbers, or there's something else that they liked.
Yeah, they had a revenue increase of 24%, $40.5 million. Gross margin slightly down, so that's not that great.
None of these are mind-blowing numbers here, but the stock continues to go up. It's up over 3% now. After hours trading is up 3.25%.
That's interesting.
DocuSign's still rolling here. It's up 4.25%.
Listen, I mean,
Good
if
stuff.
they give good guidance and bullish outlook, the numbers don't matter.
Yeah.
They also were beaten down since last earnings. I think they were down 20% since the last earnings report.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
they got hit with all the other EV stuff.
yeah. Oh, Slack was the other one.
I forgot about Slack. Forgot all about Slack. Yeah, we didn't talk about that this afternoon, but they're up 39% on user subs. Wow.
All right. Oh. Okay.
Slack's big problem is that they haven't been able to make money.
Well, they also are getting sold to CRM.
Yeah, the merging with Salesforce. Yeah.
And there's a established price, so I think it's going to be really hard for that to even change.
He was around $40 a share, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I believe it was $40. ChargePoint, so a loss of 39 cents. They miss. Estimates were a loss of 10 cents. They did beat on revenue. 35 million where the estimates came in at 40 million.
It is rolling here. Pretty good. Up almost 4% after hours.
Slack did beat. They came in at 8 cents. Nice. Loss of a penny was their estimate, so that's a solid beat.
Yeah.
They did beat on revenue as well. 267 were the estimates, and 273 was what they came in at.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Which honestly, I think, in my opinion, adds a ton of value to Salesforce when that merger goes through. If they're continuing to grow like this, I think it's going to do really well. ChargePoint's making its way up. It is now up over 4% after hours. Lululemon is up 2%. DocuSign up 4.5%.
Okay.
CrowdStrike is up 1.5%.
All right. Okay.
Oh my God.
You motherfucker.
I'm going to grab that sound clip.
Okay, ChargePoint. I'm putting cases on all you bitches.
So Arfin, yeah, to that point about Slack, it probably won't change the price point too much, but I think what it does is it just continues to add value to Salesforce, in my opinion. I think Slack is the future, the way people do work, but we'll see how Salesforce can leverage them. Rudy says he hears you. DocuSign now up 5% after hours. Holy cow! What a move! What a move!
Turn
on
the
that.
lights out.
I guess that's a sign for us to go.
Yeah, right at 4:16. The thing shut off.
DocuSign's still rolling here. Holy shit! Wow, this is still going. Must be something in that outlook. That guidance must be good. So yeah, the big winner here after hours looks to be DocuSign as far as price action is concerned. But everything that we looked at as far as earnings did really, really well, and the outlooks were really good too, despite some of the sentiment that we hear from analysts and investors, especially on some of the quote-unquote pandemic plays. Lululemon, I'm really encouraged by. Be curious to see how this plays out throughout the rest of the year. But man, what a great day.
Absolutely. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Now we'll see how it opens. See if ChargePoint and Lulu and open green tomorrow. I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. So thanks so much for hanging out. We certainly appreciate you guys allowing us to be a part of your afternoon. And again, if you're joining us for the first time, we encourage you to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified every time we go live, which is Sunday through Thursday. So in that case, we will see you Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to do it for me, Fat Man Zoom.
Bye.
See you guys.
I quit this bitch.
See ya.